on Connor's lap. Obviously, Connor is rubbish, so it doesn't really matter. We'll talk over him. It's round 16. It's the final elimination round of the round of 6. There are 9 drivers still in contention to win this championship. And of course, it wouldn't be JACKOCAR if there wasn't some sort of absolutely massive, let's say, a massive hurdle for the drivers to overcome. It's France, and it's the Paul Ricard Super.
Yeah, I'm good. Obviously, very happy to be back in the commentary boxes. Just looking at Connor, he's just spun into the wall on the right side, and that is completely void. Well, it hasn't voided his lap because there's no rules here in a track that you seemingly like to call Paul Richard in your tweet.
Oh, don't. You know, it's one of those occasions where I wish that like there was more than one person behind the JACKOCAR account. It's not. It's all me. And my phone decided it's the Paul Richard race. Anyway, Connor, who you rightfully called, did spin on that. He returns to the Cup Series, and so does this man, Jordan Lane. What can he do tonight? So, yeah, he is the second car out. Qualifying bans for Sullivan, Lewis and Ben Shaw this evening. Stage points are lap 13 and lap 26, and there will be a competition caution on lap 46, but more on that later on. What is it? Casper is minus 19 tonight. Yori is minus 20. And, well, both of them, one of them might be going home. If one of them wins, it would knock Jamie Wright or maybe Kieran out. Jordan with a more representative 108.374 as we go to Michael Okeke. So yeah, all to play for, and of course the chase is separated by I think 2 or 4 points. I will get that information for you in the interim. But it's good to be back in France. Potentially, we thought potentially it could be the last time we come here, but we do believe we are getting it in the new game as we watch Michael Okeke through what I believe is turn 3 and spins. It wouldn't be a Cup Series evening.
Place.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a Cup Series evening without a Michael Okeke spin. So maybe, Danny, maybe the drivers are struggling there. Oh, and the wall goes Okeke.
Yeah, I was just going to say that was exactly the same place as where Connor had spun on his lap, and as I was browsing through the drivers, Okeke actually spun on his out lap for his fast lap. So yeah, I think next up is
it's Pete because
Knighton.
Risky obviously serving that qualifying ban, so that little kink is not a turn. This is true turn 1. We'll finally do a hot lap with you guys. What is it? Are we saying 5 corners in this one? Because this one's not really a corner either, depending on the line you take. So
first corner is actually at the elongated hairpin through sector 1.
Yep.
And then I'd say about 5 corners.
What we're coming up to now. This is turn 2 then. The season 1 champion is approaching. I saw Pete the other day and he reaffirmed his desire to continue in the league. Turn 2 is a long sweeping right-hander and then a kink to the left here. This is turn 3. And you've got to straighten this up into... You know what, Danny? This is not turn 4. This is turn 4 with that awful bump on the inside. So it is a proper oval, 4 corners. And Pete Knighton sets the new benchmark. It's a 107. And what about Matt Rosamond then, who joins us from the Kia Series this evening? Obviously confirmed his place in the Championship 5 for Tuesday night, along with you for next week.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting on Tuesday, but Matt, he does spin. That's the 3rd spinner on a flying lap we've seen tonight so far, so maybe people just aren't, well, obviously they would have prepared for this, but obviously they're not prepared enough.
Clearly. Oh, he's at the back end. A new rule I'm going to come up with is anybody who spins on their hot lap, we are not going to watch the rest of, because these laps, the fast ones at least, will come thick and fast. So we've got to try and keep up with those guys. And here is Jess then. So the only one who isn't a guy. She is indeed a female. If you listen to Kyle Smith in Was it Kyle Smith? No, it was Kieran in Austria. Definitely a female.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you were with me that night as well. Jess
yeah.
straightens the car up and lines it up for turn 4 and avoids that bump.
Wide entry.
Very wide entry. And I think it's going to slow her down quite drastically up to the line. Yeah, only P3. So next up, Danny, Michelle Goris, who is not here, but Rico is in turn 1.
Let's hop on board with Rico. Is pretty much not. Is the only bad thing I feel about this is the fact that you can't extend the DRS. Because imagine it extends all the way up to this next corner.
Would be amazing, wouldn't it? And
or if there's a second DRS zone at the end of the chicane.
Just touching back on that subject about Jess identifying as a girl, Kyle's dad saying she may wish to identify as a toaster. Of course, it is 2023, so anything is viable these days. As we see Rico come through turn 3. He wishes to identify as a piece of Edam because he is from the Netherlands. And turn 4 lines it up. It won't be P1. Pete has set the benchmark really quite well early on. That's a 1:10, so issues in the lap for Rico as we
he definitely slowed down. He definitely slowed down for that final corner. Obviously, he can take it flat, so that definitely slowed him down. But someone who's coming towards the end of their lap is Leroy,
and absolutely pushing it as well, isn't he? There's your pole time, 1:05.9, Leroy, and an important time as well because he sits behind Ben Harrett in the chase. Who is next?
Next up is the man himself.
It is
Ben
the man
Harrett,
who is in direct competition with it. Is Ben Harrett. Let me get those chase standards up because they are very important. Leroy leads Ben Harrett by 2 points, but of course, if they were to finish level on points tonight, Ben Harrett would advance to the Championship 5 on countback. Both of them, Ben and Leroy, have wins this season, but Ben has better finishing results elsewhere. And that's why he has that luxury. Through turn 3 he comes then. And that camera shot totally misses the camera. Look how wide he runs up against the wall at the speedway here in France. And he goes P2. I don't think he lost enough time to have gone pole. So next then, Danny Quinn. It is Mike Helterborn, knocked out early doors in the playoffs.
Yeah, got a miraculous win at Canada, he did, of course. I didn't race there, but it was sort of, well, I wouldn't say orchestrated by ART, but actions definitely helped him during that race.
How slow he is through turn 3 there.
Yeah, quite slow compared to everyone else. Obviously just getting up to the minute mark now. Very, very close to the outside wall, maximising
Top
speed,
P1,
and he goes provisional pole.
Brilliant stuff to see there from the German. Here's Jamie Griffiths then, and just a reminder to everyone: damage. That's what I was going to talk about. Damage is on reduced. How often do you hear that in JACKOCAR? Reduced. Actually, the rate is reduced. So. The guy's really struggling on the exit of turn 2 where they hook it back up into turn 3. Really slow part of the track, the slowest part in fact. And then they've got to be so careful on this kink. Jamie Griffiths goes for a spin! And another thing I was going to say as well, obviously with that competition caution on lap 46, it's all about surviving. If you can be in the race on lap 46, you are in with a chance of winning it. So then, Jori Hazelager. Obviously, Kia Championship 5 bound. If he advances tonight, he'll be the first driver to compete in both Championship 5s, in both tiers, in the same season. Of course,
it would have been the second if it wasn't for Camo.
Yeah, but it didn't quite happen. Obviously, Mike Kelterborn has competed in both. Oh, they're pushing it so hard. But Mike Kelterborn did it in different seasons. Jori Hazelager, P2 then, over the line. And next up, Kyle Smith.
Yeah, it's hard to actually tell what is a good lap time until you get these final guys come up. For all we know, Mike's lap could just be an absolute blistering lap. It could be pole position.
It could be the absolute limit of what you can do around here. Here goes Kyle then. Father watching on in the grandstands, otherwise known as the YouTube chat. Wider line. And goes P3 does Kyle. So next up is Casper, who thought he was down and out after last week, but no. If you come to France, you might just win it and you might just give yourself a shot at the championship. Over the line. This is our lap. Never mind. We're going to stay on board then, Danny, for this entire lap. This is your RDR teammate. I'll let you commentate.
Yeah, so coming down to, well, really the first corner, taking a tight line here, trying to get as much of a straight line as he can, going through the little kink there. Obviously, this chicane has been nicely cleared up by everyone else for Casper, so he's going to make the most of it. Getting up to, what is that, over 210 miles an hour up to this right, takes a tight line, drifts out wide to create a better angle to turn in, carries as much speed as he can through, then through to, well, turn 3 here. You don't want to go over these curves too much. Again, takes a wider entry to get a straighter line.
That's a good lap. That's a really good lap. P3, I like the lines he was taking there. Next up then, Kieran, the man who nobody likes, has a moment, has a big moment. Well, that's the end of his lap, so we'll go on to Jamie Wright, who loads of other people don't like. The two-time champion, celebrating 101 Cup Series starts this week. Of course, we missed the...
we spun.
I'll tell you what, let's go back to Kieran then, because after this we've only got 2 drivers.
He spun again, I think.
So all the big
might have
names...
just been recovering.
All the big names are going to be at the back, but look at the guys in 2nd and 3rd as it stands.
Yeah.
The 2 drivers that really could do with a victory tonight. And Kieran goes 14th. Jamie Wright on the back of, I assume that must be Matt Rosamond.
I'm not sure who
It won't be Matt Rosamond, will it?
Casper.
Casper, yeah.
It was getting a little cheeky slipstream from Casper.
Casper got out of the way as soon as he could. So after Jamie Wright is Gareth Hall, fastest man in team speed, starts his lap, and he will want all the attention. Keep your eye on Jamie Wright, see where he ends up. Coming across the line around about now, and he goes 13th. But here's the real star of the show, Gareth Hall. Of course, excellent filming session at the weekend with him. Of course, that Championship 5 build-up, all to look forward to this time next week. We're live from Silverstone. I think it's going to be somewhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours. Gareth playing a major role throughout the entire build-up. And
as long as we get another moment like the inflatable seagull, I'm happy.
Trust me, the inflatable seagull returns, and you are in for an absolute treat if you join us for our build-up show next weekend. It'll be next Thursday, about 5 p.m. or so, I anticipate the start time. But here comes Gareth to the line then. What can he do? Fastest man in team speed, it's only P7. Ben Shaw has a penalty, so we will not see him. He will start around 17th. And it leaves us with the man who is the regular points leader and hasn't got the memo. It's the full circuit then for Jake O'Sullivan. I somewhat sense this might be on purpose. Yeah.
He's going to do a last to first, or try to.
I
hope he doesn't do the whole race like this.
I hope he does. Anything but a Jake win. He heard his mate Ben Shaw was starting from the back, so he thought, you know what, I'm going to join him. Brilliant stuff from Jake.
Well, I mean, just, it might not be the smartest idea to do this.
He is already advanced, that's the only thing.
But he's going to put himself in P17 by doing this. And he's going to have 2 speed drivers ahead of him and 2 behind him.
I don't think he cares. He is through to the Championship 5. He'll be there in Silverstone next weekend. What will be a good idea as well, or a good indication to us, is to see what the differences between the lines are. Obviously, the GP circuit versus the Speedway circuit. How far off are these guys?
To do the best to put him off.
Yeah. Jake has been the outstanding driver this season. So Mike Kelterborn on pole with a 105.6. Gareth, following the rules, does a 132.3. So it's what's that? A 27-second loss or gain, depending on which way you look at it. And that's qualifying done. And Mike Kelterborn on pole for the first time in 115 races. The last time he did.
Yeah,
it's also
like I said, with when Mike finished his lap, it might be the time to beat, and it definitely was.
It definitely was. So let's give you a rundown of this at risk. He is just a few points behind Kieran, but 19 clear of Casper. So really, if Casper or Yori win, that's when he becomes a bit worried. And then Newgarden, Kieran, and the others who we missed, of course, Jaco, KK, Ben, and Risky, I believe, all down the bottom. So yeah,
it's going to be very interesting, because when I was looking over everyone's laps, everyone is seemingly taking different lines through all the corners. So that's the beauty of it. You're just going to have, not sure which one's faster. They all could be as fast as each other, really. So it's going to be interesting to see how that develops into the race.
Sure will. And this, Danny, this will, if they follow the rules, this will either be amazing or an absolute mess. I'm not sure which one yet.
Well, I mean, look at what happened last time.
That's exactly what I was about to bring up.
We had two speed drivers taking each other out. Well, Pete taking out Ben.
Or the other way around, depending on who you speak to.
Oh, yeah. And then, what was it? Red Matt winning the race, and Gareth at the time, what was it? First season in Cup, finishes P2.
I think it was like his second or third race or something. Certainly made the jump up from Kia. Very well did our Gareth. But yeah, Red Matt went on to dominate that one. As we just wait for the drivers here to ready up. Setups apparently are important here. I can't remember what the guys were saying, but you've got to do something with something because of the bumper turn 4.
Let's do 0-0 and 11-11 wings. Or no, 0-0 wings, 11-11 ride height.
But I think it's a suspension that could be the issue here. We saw a lot of spins, didn't we?
You have to make it... I guess you have to make the suspension soft. Going over all of the, risen curves. You got to make it quite soft, so you don't get sudden jolts.
Yeah, we're here in Risky Racer. His game crashed, so hopefully he can get back in, because he has changed his shifts around specially to be here tonight. Obviously, a manager at Tesco's. And speaking of Tesco's, the club card shootout is tonight. Kyle versus Leroy, and Kieran versus Jamie Griffiths. So, formation lap here in the south of France. MK Bourne leads the drivers away for the first time in 115 Cup Series starts. That's the longest anyone has gone between poles, obviously. And Yori already cutting the corners. Let's talk about then.
I've just noticed something.
Go on.
Casper's running the new McLaren livery, so is that just a tribute to me, or is he just thought, well, you know what, let's just run it?
Matt Newgarden did it on Tuesday night about it. So he's actually a bit late to the party, if anything.
Yeah, I did it on Tuesday as well.
Did you? I didn't see. I did see. I saw the side of it. But very quickly, I need to get this in. Competition caution comes out at lap 46, so that's lap 45 going into 46. When 46 is upon us, all the drivers will slow down, they will reform, and they will create a double file, a 2 wide restart. and they will get going again at the end of lap 47. It's still a 2-stop mandatory. But like I said in qualifying, if you can just stay in the race, look at them all getting rid of the advertising boards. If you can just stay in the race, then you have a shot to win. But we've seen, even on reduced damage, you can still lose your wheel. Michael O'Keke did it in qualifying. So you just got to make sure you get there. And you've got to survive 46 laps and, well, give yourself a shot at a Cup Series win. Look at row 9 then. Jake O'Sullivan and Iceman all the way down at the back. Exciting times for those two coming through. And then Risky, who I believe has maybe joined the session.
I think he has. It doesn't... Yeah, his car's not ghosted, so I think he's there. And something I want to point out is really bad for Mike, because he got disqualified from disqualifying. So his tyres are just going to be cold.
Well, let's see how he gets on then.
Look at Yuri doing the standard for his grid slot.
Of course. Well, it's the final playoff round then in JACKOCAR Season 7. And it's no rules with a few rules in France. Paul Ricard, of course, you can jump the lights. And away goes Casper, who will lead, potentially, into Turn 1. But it's such a long run down to Turn 1. He's going to push Yuri to the left, but has the inside no less. And we see Ben Harrett and Kyle up the inside. These drivers all have to work together. There's Risky, who has been disqualified from the session. And will these guys all get through Turn 1? Yuri taking a wider line than most. MK Bourne finds himself down in P19. What an awful start for him. Again, stay in the race, and you could win it later on. And here we have Connor and Iceman, who's already up to P7, by the way. What a start. His rival Catchman only P11. Right, will we get some pack racing this time around? We wanted it 2 seasons ago. We didn't quite get it. But looking at this, it's looking a lot better as we come towards the end of the first lap. Although, saying that, we are only in Turn 2, and Yuri has been spun around. Everyone's got to try and get through this and not hit them. Casper has also gone. They're all struggling. J-Luke as well, the man at risk who needs some points. Who's going to lead lap 1? It's going to be Kyle Smith, who is way out in front.
Look at Ben, he's up into P2 already. Insane start for Ben.
KK's out. Of course, there's no safety cars.
Yeah, and Risky's left the session.
I suppose a quick note on Jake O'Sullivan's livery. This is what the guys ran last night in the VSL charity event. Of course, not an event we were taking seriously. We let the other leagues have their fun. But Jake did win here in the no rules race at France. But yeah, we don't care about that, so the less said about that, the better. But it was a great cause for Sue Ryder charity. Anyway, here's some pack racing. Okay, K's had enough.
Yeah.
Look at this.
We've got Leroy side by side with Jamie numbers, and he's actually been overtaken by Connor.
Oh, what is that?
Taking a wide line, carrying more speed through. Jamie might actually... Oh no, he's still behind. He's sort of getting held up by Connor there.
Pete Knighton.
The amount of overtakes that's happening right now.
Yeah, it was Pete Knighton who went very deep into the Turn 2 and now finds himself at the back as we ride on board with Leroy looking back at Connor. Just looking at messages from OKK, he's not happy. And here's the view from Connor then, looking forward at Leroy. Where's Ben Harrett? That's the big question. So many changes all over the track. Connor up the inside of Leroy. Will Jamie Griffiths follow him through? DRS enabled here on lap 3. And there goes Jamie Griffiths.
No.
Brilliant bit of drafting. Ben Spurs in P9, by the way. So at the moment, Leroy would advance to the Championship 5. And Catchman gets through on his rival, Iceman. These two are racing for fun this week. But the gap to Kyle has actually increased. Casper recovering to 7th. Ben Harrett with work to do. Really struggling there in Turn 2. So slow. Maybe hasn't quite got the setup on. And there's Newgarden And Yuri. Kyle with another fastest lap. Through goes Yuri. Now Jake with the fastest lap. It's going to be like this all race, especially as the fuel drops off. Don't know where to look, Danny.
Yeah, we've got Jordan on the back of Jess, but it doesn't look like he's going to get Jess on the run down to turn 1. Yeah, he's dropped back massively. Jess taking an interesting line, a really tight line.
There goes Jordan.
Interesting, yeah, Jordan. Not sure what Jess is doing here.
There is Jess behind Jordan now, who has the DRS, as does Jess, in fairness to her. But a very tight line, well spotted. The tightest of the lot. Meanwhile, Jordan's was the widest of the lot. Gareth, fastest man in team speed, but I think the timing tower might be upside down. What's happened? It's Cajman. He's facing the wrong way. He's got to be so careful here. That's a live racetrack to your left. Oh! Well then.
That's Jordan.
That could very well be a penalty.
And that's Rico round as well.
Yeah, I think Rico was a separate incident. You see MK Bourne with no front wing. Of course, pit stops can now happen, by the way. We are beyond lap 3. Let's get the stops up.
Well, they're up.
Jake.
Oh, okay then.
I saw that.
Mike.
And Kyle, looking very good up there by himself.
We're seeing another red mat domination, I reckon. Well, obviously, lap 46 will change that.
But there is action happening. Let's go on board with Leroy. These three have been producing all the entertainment so far. Leroy sensibly taking a wider line and giving those guys a bit more space. He knows what's at stake, but 2 positions behind is Ben Harrett. 2 more puts him into the Championship 5. Connor has made a move.
Yeah, it's a very good move there. And Ben is seemingly dropping back further and further from Kyle. Or maybe he's just
tactical,
trying to make it better for, well, really, he should be pulling away. And that was, who was that?
What happened so fast? They went through at about 210 miles an hour, so I didn't even see. I think Ben holding back to try and get a part of this draft to maybe work together and get back to Kyle up front, who leads this race by 5.2 seconds. The DRS will be activated on a couple of these drivers. And that's exactly what Ben's doing, because he's not that slow, I assure you. Because remember, they broke away, him and Jake, before Jake's spin.
This is what it's about a 4-way battle for P6 this is, between Ben Harrett, J. Luke, Kieran and Yuri.
That's the other train that's going on. The one you refer to. Yuri taking the inside line. This is turn 2, long sweeping right-hander. And all of them giving space, all of them working together. It's great to see J. Luke in this battle as well. Through goes Kieran. That was a bit aggressive. There's no need for that, Kieran. Play the long game. You don't need to take Jamie out just yet. I know you are racing him for a place in the C5. But the men who should win, or need to win, Yuri and Casper, are currently not in the equation. Just wait until that competition caution comes out later on. J. Luke leads this pack.
Jamie with a big dive on Leroy going through turn 1. Excellent, but looking at Jamie, he's actually not got any ERS.
I don't think any of them do they?
Leroy's actually got 70%. I don't know what he's been doing.
Here goes Leroy. The moves take so long to get done, but at least we are getting moves. And through goes Leroy. On Jamie Griffiths.
Yeah. Jay with the wide line, trying to carry through as much speed as he can, really hugging the wall on the inside. Leroy taking a wide entry into another little kink there in turn 3, and then down through to turn 4. Iceman finds himself in P2 with Connor 3 tenths behind, so still got some pack racing here, but it's going to be
Connor to the inside.
Connor absolutely flies by Ben, and this is a new Connor that I don't think I've seen before. He's obviously the super speedway, anything can happen, I've not seen this speed from Connor all season.
Not even Canada? Oh, you weren't there, were you? What's happening
No.
further back? Jamie and Ben, they're all fighting still. But yeah, Connor could have won that race. He could win this race. Meanwhile, Kyle is stat padding his way to the most laps led in this race. Danny, the way to do this strategy, obviously you've got to do one after lap 3 and one after lap 26, is I assume all these guys are going to pit under caution on lap 46 and 47 and get one done before then as well. But when you get that one done, who knows? It's entirely up to you. The strategy is wide open this evening. But I do like the idea of it all being brought back together later on for what will be a 6-lap shootout to decide who wins this race.
Yeah, just looking at, well, the stops at the moment, it's only the bottom 4 that have actually made a stop.
Look at these two.
Where Jordan is on the hard tyres, so going for the long run here.
Yep, so that'll be a pit stop on 46. Connor, by the way, pushing Ben to the absolute extreme outside wall. Proper NASCAR racing. You absolutely love to see it. This is what JACKOCAR was built on. Fantastic driving from Iceman. And Connor there, as we see Jamie Wright getting past Ben Harrop, who needs to do a little bit more work. And Kieran and Jamie also fighting away. The guys at the front have got it figured out. It's the guys behind who are really struggling now. As Connor, where is he? Has a wide line. Oh no, he's had a spin. What a shame for Connor. But if he can get it going, he can stay with the leading pack here. Spins the tyres up for what seems like the entire length of France, but retains a position in the top 6. As Jamie Griffiths now pits those soft tyres, they're done.
Yeah, it's interesting because of course it is a 100% race, but going through this, like the super speedway, it's gonna put so much wear on the tyres.
Yep, sorry, I got excited for no reason then. Ben Harrop 1 position behind Leroy now.
There is 4.2, well, about 4.5 seconds separating them, so you wouldn't see as much as a threat as J-League does Leroy a favour and gets a car between the two.
They'll be working together. That's the only thing I can say about that. But more work to be done for Ben Harrop as we come towards the end of lap. Oh, wind! Come towards the end of lap 10 on board with Kyle here. He's led nearly all of them. It might even be all of them. He's doing a red map, as you said. Ben Harrop fighting away.
What a move by J-League there.
Jamie Wright looking to become the first person to visit 5 Championship 5s in the Cup Series, but Ben Harrop's going to come right back through. There he goes, up into P4. Good move. And we see Jake and Pete working together. Ben and Jamie still fighting up front.
Well, I wouldn't really say it's fighting. He's 9 seconds up the road. Yeah, it's very interesting to see what strategies everyone's going for, because Kyle is still on the softs, and so is Jess. The only 2 soft runners remaining. Everyone else is on mediums apart from Jordan, so Jordan did something very interesting in this race.
Yep, there are the tyre choices for all of you at home to enjoy, all 12 of you who join us this evening. Of course, if you're not interested in tonight, you will be interested in next week, I absolutely assure you. Championship 5 build-up in the late afternoon, followed by the race from Silverstone at 7 PM. What's the closest battle on track? It's Jess and Jamie at the moment.
Yeah, 2 people who you wouldn't necessarily think would be the closest battle on track, but yeah, I'm just slightly concerned about the lines that Jess is taking. It seems like just taking 2 tired lines and it's just scrubbing off all speed.
By the way, Connor Byers has a really fast race car. He is back up in the top 5 after that spin.
Yeah,
he's got something right.
Yeah, he did only drop down to about P7, so I'm not surprised by that. But yeah, this three-way battle for P4 at the moment is very interesting to see how these three play.
Oh, Jamie spins!
That's Jamie. Second time he's spun this race.
Well, that's made life slightly easier for Connor.
Yeah.
I dare say.
The same corner as well.
Yeah, it is. I was just going to say, I dare say that Connor could be the man that wins this one later on, as Leroy gets past Iceman. Is that Jordan in the background? He's now been lapped. He'll be able to unlap himself later on in the race, something that doesn't normally happen on this game, as Iceman has a moment on the exit of turn 1 that gets away with it.
It's only 13 laps into this race. If we're running 50%, that would be halfway through.
It would indeed. And the drivers were asked if they wanted a... there's Mike without a front wing. If they wanted 50 or 100, the majority, at least, said 100. So that's why it's 53 laps. As here comes Kyle then. At the end of lap 13, he's going to win stage 1. And for Kyle Smith,
it's been faultless so far.
That is his 19th stage win in JACKOCAR, which puts him level 3rd all time on the stage wins list. And so level with Jake, but behind Jamie Wright and, of course, Arnaud de Grief.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see going into the next game how all these stats change. Of course, it is, judging by what we've seen in the revealed gameplays and trailers, it looks promising, to say the least. It definitely looks promising.
We can only hope, but I won't hold my breath.
Here's Leroy getting a little bit of payback on Ben, giving him a little bit of a bump draft.
Proper bump draft and brilliant stuff. And what are they doing?
He's still got 50%.
But
still got 50% ERS.
Only 204 miles an hour in the draft, but earlier we were seeing guys hit 211. There's Connor.
Yeah, I don't think that was in a bump draft though, so maybe it slows you down doing a bump draft.
Maybe. We're learning, and that's why Kyle has a 12-second lead. But it doesn't matter, because in 30 laps it's going to be wiped out totally. Of course, the penalty for drivers who ignore the competition caution, they will be disqualified from the race result. Which, trust me, I am not afraid to do. I do enjoy it. You've got to lead like a dictator.
Ben Harrett in the pits now, putting on medium tyres, changing his front wing as well.
So Ben Harrett is hoping these mediums go to lap 46 then. And then he can put some softs on.
It's going to be interesting to see if they can.
What will be even more interesting to see is, does anybody not pit at the competition caution? Do they stay out and take track position? Are tyres that much of a factor? We will only find out, won't we?
At the rate that Kyle's breaking away from Iceman and Leroy, you have to say that he might even be a pit stop ahead, so it might not even matter when he stops.
But he will be brought back in check, don't forget.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming Jordan, Jess and Mike are all a lap down. Where's Rico? Is he a lap down yet? I would say no.
He's got Pete and Casper ahead of him, and I think that's Kyle behind. Yeah.
Kyle's
Rico,
in turn 2 now. So
yeah, so that's Jordan. Yeah, Jordan, Jess, and Mike are all a lap down.
And should Kyle win this race, he will go clear of Arnaud and Khalifa. They're both, all three of them, sorry, are all on 11 Cup Series wins. Kyle looking for number 12. Of course, the all-time list has Yuri Hazelager at 13, but only one of those is a proper win. That was in the Cup Series, and even then it had to be gifted to him. The other 12, all from the Kia Series, and of course, they don't count because it's the lower tier.
You know what the saying is.
If you're in Kia series, you're not a proper JACKOCAR driver.
It's not my tier.
Ah, yes, that one. The more obvious one.
J. Luke in the fastest lap there, up into P4, getting past Connor on the way down to turn 1, and you're a popular man, it seems.
Ah, yes, that'll be my colleague. Unfortunately, he is going to have to wait because there are more important matters at hand. I am aware there's a leak in the Bournemouth area, which, unfortunately, is not my problem because I'm not in tomorrow and I'm certainly not working tonight. Here goes Leroy, pushing Ben Shaw down the main straight. And
Just
Connor and Jamie.
Connor's setup, I don't know if he's actually running 0-0 wings, but his car is a rocket ship.
But Jamie Wright has done well to get back into this, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
So
I think definitely doing a good job.
The two of them probably sharing setups, knowing the ART boys. And I think Rico isn't far away from being lapped here.
Yeah, it's definitely not only, well, not even a corner. It's about, only a few tenths, maybe even a second separating to Kyle and Rico. Of course, Rico about 6.5 seconds back from Casper, who's fighting with Pete Knighton here. Takes a wider line, does Casper, through the inside. Jeez. What a speed advantage there by Casper, and although it might have given Pete a better line, Casper does make the move stick, so P13. Oh no, Casper! Casper's out.
Just as I looked down at my phone, that's why there was no reaction from me. But let's go to VAR real quick because the cameras were certainly on him. It just Casper just drove straight into the wall. He's done. Championship 5 hopes are over for Casper. I didn't know if it was
in the pits as well.
Yeah, I didn't quite know if it was Pete that put him in the wall, but looking back, Casper literally just either lost the concentration or simply gave up. He's heading back to Finland, trophyless once again. Danny, take over commentary a second. I just need to look at this job of mine that isn't mine.
Alright, so just looking up at the leaders, we have Leroy just bump drafting Ben Shaw here, and of course we do have Connor and J. Luke not horrifically behind, only 4 seconds. And they're going 2 by 2 here. We've got Ben and Leroy, then Connor and J. Luke, and then Kieran and Yuri. So the top 6 only, well, get up to the leader. The top 6 are only, well, Yuri and Kieran are only 14 seconds back from Ben here. But with Kyle being about 12 seconds ahead of the front 2 at the moment, it's a big gap for these guys to make up. But as we keep on saying, lap 46, it all changes.
And lap 26, of course, is the second stage. So who will get that? Look at how good I am replying to my colleagues about a job that's nothing to do with me. So invested. It's only because they pay me. And them paying me means that we can do things like we did at the weekend, helping to film production day for the Championship 5. I will keep plugging it because it is going to be quite a spectacular live music, hilarious comedic skits, and multiple characters played by the one and only Gareth Hall, who is currently in P8 and yet to make a stop, fighting with the one stopping Kyle so far. So Gareth is an entire pit stop behind, and it does mean that with Kyle's stop, I don't think Rico was ever lapped, and it also saves Pete as well. Oh, look how close these two are, Jesus. Oh, and there's more contact. Of course, Gareth refers to Kyle as the world's angriest man. And if you listen back to some of his streams, you can see why. I've never heard a man put so many swear words into one sentence before. But Kyle does get away with it and ends up P7 ahead of Gareth. I wonder if Gareth will catch up. Potentially. He's certainly in the slipstream. More overtaking happening with Connor and J-Luke. Leroy and Ben still working together. Yeah, I do wonder, actually.
As well.
Yeah, I was thinking more for the front two. I wonder if Iceman will let Leroy win the stage. The reason being, that would put him 3 points clear of Ben Harrett. That could be a massive point.
Yeah, I think knowing the Speed Boys, that will definitely be what they're doing. Just knowing them being part of Speed for so long. Oh, what's going on with Leroy? They're like
in on Casper, his TV screen turned off for a few seconds, and that's why he ended up in the wall. Pete was actually lucky to avoid it. And Casper, if you are still listening, Jess has a question, which is, can you unlap yourself during the safety car? And that is yes. I'm hoping that we don't have too many people one lap down, though.
At the moment, it's only at the bottom three, I believe.
Three, yeah. 20 drivers now are watching. Welcome to the stream.
Have to see where Kyle is. Yeah, I think. Yeah, Rico is way up the track compared to Kyle.
But yeah, to make a stop.
Rico has got Ben and Leroy just behind him. So is actually giving him DRS. He's giving Ben DRS.
Yeah, so this will put Rico one lap down. He stays way out the way of these two. I can assure you he will be in the same party. In fact, he even lifts off. So Rico knows his fate. He also knows he can come back into it later on. But Ben with a little moment out of turn one. Leroy continues to follow closely at half a second. These two have been inseparable for however many laps now. And what a shame as well, wasn't it, having Jake and Ben starting from the back, and then at the end of lap one they were both at the front. Of course, we have lost Jake since, but Ben
Jake's
leads.
Still in P9, but it's 14 seconds behind Gareth. So he's got a mountain to climb as Jake. And I believe he's just coming up to Jordan on track now, going through turn one.
Let's have a look. So Jake has found a teammate in the form of Ben Harrett. Ben Harrett currently being knocked out of the chase. We did say this race would be a total lossery, and that's what it is proving to be. But maybe the competition caution changes everything. I think, and I only think, so please correct me if I'm wrong, the caution later on will be the first forced caution ever on an F1 game in a league.
I think it must be.
As we lose Connor.
I certainly haven't been in any league that's done that. I'll stick on board with Connor, and yeah, he's dropping back quite a lot from J-Luke.
Yeah, because he's left the session, that's why.
Yeah, his car's taking the normal way, which is going to be really bad. I wasn't sure where Yuri was on track, but that was nearly a disaster.
Just messaging Connor now, because if he isn't trying to get back into the session, he does need to return. You cannot leave that car out on track, because that's very dangerous. In fact, oh my god, well, it's happened, but thankfully it's happened to the AI car of Connor. It went into the side of Kieran. I wouldn't be surprised if Kieran has a bit of damage from that. Of course, no side pod and no rear wing damage in this race. But it certainly would have shocked him, spooked him even. But that is the best thing that could have happened to that car of Connor's. The fastest one on track that me and you have certainly seen.
Yeah, definitely. But Just looking at the gap from J-Luke to Leroy, of course, the two speed drivers really working together. But it's sticking around the 4-second mark for J-Luke, so he's not completely out of it.
No, and another question from Casper in the chat. Jamie Griffiths asking if you can complete your mandatory stop during the competition caution. Yes, you can. And that is what I think a lot of these drivers are waiting for. They'll put on fresh softs at the end. Traditionally, of course, the soft tyres do go off quite quickly here. Using the normal layout. Goodness knows what happens on the speedway layout.
Well, I mean, Connor did manage to take them 10 laps, and that is actually Kieran coming into the pits. He did lose the car very much going into the pit lane. Nearly crashed into the wall there, but is back safe and sound. I'll have to see if there's any damage to his car. Doesn't look like they're changing his front wing, so it looks like it's all good. And yeah, sticking another set of mediums on. So yeah, he's definitely going to be doing soft for the forced caution.
And of course, Danny, it's lap 26, and we have now seen a change of lead. Leroy will be given the stage win by Iceman. The most valuable point of the night, seeing as others have crashed out. This is absolutely massive. So Ben Harrott is now 3 points behind. As we lose MK Bourne, the pole sitter, out of this race. But the stage 2 victory goes to Leroy, and Ben will now retake the lead. Brilliant teamwork from the Speed Boys, who have this race under control. But don't forget, Kyle is 1 pit stop ahead. MK Bourne out of it, so we're left with 15 runners.
He's going to be miles ahead of these two when they decide to pit. He's only he's only about 21 seconds behind. And we know how long pitting is. Well, Kyle. It's definitely a long pit entrance. The pit exit isn't too bad here.
And there is Ben Harrott with the fastest lap of the race. So he is coming alive now. He's also in a very good position. 1 pit stop down.
Yeah.
And Leroy with 2 to go.
Well, he's going to be about, 33 seconds behind Leroy?
Yes, but the thing is, he will be, obviously they're both going to, there you go, the leader's pit. The thing is, the track position will be key, so he's not going to be that far away from Leroy. And of course, the difference between first and second in the playoffs, guess what? It's 4 points. So Ben, should he win this race, would advance to the Championship 5 by a single point. Jamie Wright has a moment through turn 1 and locks it all back up.
Not forgetting he's got fastest lap as well.
Yes, he does. So he'd be clear by 2 points.
That's why you've got me here. I'm the numbers guy.
Hey, ever since we lost Mr. Wyatt, I've had to step up, and I actually notice I miss a lot more things now. So you keep writing those down for me, because they are very much appreciated. There's Jamie Wright trying to do something impressive this season, because he's been absolutely nowhere since his win in China. It seems like such a long time ago. 17 weeks since that race win on his Joker, the only Joker win this season. Jamie Wright comes through.
Tiers, isn't it? It's the only Joker across both tiers to win.
I think so.
Which is unheard of. It's unheard of in Joker.
Hang on, no, Yuri won in Belgium, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, he did. Only 2 Joker wins across 2 tiers in JACKOCAR. That's unheard of.
Yeah, of course, that is a victory that I could have won, but I didn't. The 2 Jokers, though, me and Yuri proving how easy the Joker is. Finishing 1-2, absolutely dominated that race, the both of us.
That's Ben Harrott again
class of our
with
own.
the fastest lap. he's got another fastest lap. He's improving.
Shut up! I'm trying to pick myself up here. I'm saying how good I am. No one cares about Ben Harrott.
Well, I'm sure he cares about himself.
But his fastest lap point there, of course, cancels out the one that Leroy gained for the stage 2 victory. But of course the difference is the fastest lap can change hands, and I can assure you it will later on when everyone's on the soft tyres. It's lap 30. We're 16 laps out from a competition caution where these guys will all regroup together. You'll see Jordan, Rico and Jess unlap themselves, and everybody else will pit. I just wonder if Jamie Wright and Gareth are going to do double stops, lap 46 and lap 47. Gareth has a little moment, but manages to save it. In fact, oh no, ignore me. I thought he is pitting. That's why he took a weird line. I thought his AI was taken over. So it leaves then. Everybody but Jamie Wright has made one stop. So you're going to see a true order in a second. It is exactly what you thought it would be, though. Kyle, Iceman, Leroy, and somehow Catchman finds himself back in what is a net top 5.
Well, look at Ben Harrah. He's only 4.5 seconds back from Leroy.
And this is exactly what we wanted. It could come down to what happens on track. His teammate will pass him, but they are working together.
Something I've just noticed now, the gap before Kyle pitted to now has dropped by about 5 seconds. So Ben and Leroy actually gained a lot of time by staying out longer.
Yes.
They must have gained about 4 or 5 seconds.
Or it's their newer tyres are paying dividends here.
Well, when they came out of the pits, I think they were about 8 seconds behind. So yeah, it was.
So they made
They
time.
gained about 4 seconds. They gained 4 seconds just from staying out longer.
So I'm just reading the chat here. Risky, unhappy that there wasn't a lobby restart. Of course, there was no notification that I needed one. And then he's complaining about it, and then Mike goes, "You sound an awful lot like Connor." Of course, Connor, notable for his complaints about everything. And that's everything in life. Poor old Connor, DNFing out of this one. One of his better seasons in the Cup Series, so more return to form. Oh, Iceman with a moment. But yeah, Connor with a best result as well in Canada. Iceman really struggling, by the way.
Yeah, he definitely is. And look at the time lost now. Is nearly up to 10 seconds. They lost about 3 or 4 seconds just from that. About 3 seconds or 2 seconds they lost just from, battling each other.
Yeah, and we lose Newgarden from this race. Matt Rosamond, of course, here to fill in the numbers, but more importantly for Matt, he is in the Championship 5 next weekend as we head down under, and it'll be Matt Rosamond, yourself, Danny Quinn, Yuri Hazelaga, Michel Goris and Matt Lester all going for the title in Australia. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we get a new Kia champion, because nobody likes 2-time champions. Leroy pushing Ben into turn 2. These two have been excellent this evening working together.
Yeah, they've just been stuck together. They've been joined at the hip for the whole race, it seems. And we need to look at Kieran at the moment. He is 47 seconds down. Obviously, with Casper out of this race, Kieran or Jamie, we will get at least one of them through. Obviously, Casper could have got in on points with a Yuri win, and that would have knocked both of them out. But Kieran and Jamie Wright are now in a direct fight, and should Yuri win this race, one of those two will be going home. And do not count this man out of the equation. That is Yuri Hazelaga. He may be 51 seconds down, but if he can stay... Ben pitting again.
Interesting. So Ben Harrah, is he playing the long game? So that's not Ben Harrah, that's Jake O'Sullivan.
Yeah, Jake. Yeah,
which
Jake
is an interesting move, actually, because I would have thought he would have stuck with Ben Harrah, his teammate. So now he's just left Ben all by himself. So goodness knows what Jake is doing. We shall follow with great intrigue. Jamie Wright pits.
It's about time, Jamie. It's about time. But he's going to be going on the softs, no doubt. Yeah, he's on fresh softs, so... Only dropping down a few positions is Jamie, right? So P4 on fresh soft tyres. He's looking strong.
I'll tell you what as well, that's worked out beautifully for Ben Harrett. He's come out right next to a teammate. So maybe Jamie can carry Ben closer to Leroy, because the gap, though, is only 4 seconds.
Yeah, it's stuck around 4 seconds, but look at Leroy. He's actually dropped back from Ben now. So he isn't going to be getting help from DRS. Or maybe Ben is actually going to slow down. Well, no, it doesn't look like it's slowing down. He's right on the edge of the 1 second mark. And there we go. It just seems like Ben is way more confident and is able to carry much more speed through the corners than Leroy is.
Yep. In fact, there's a tiny little lift there from Leroy as well in turn 4. And that gap... who am I looking at? That's Jess getting lapped. That gap is coming down, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. But Ben is still only about, well, just under 4 seconds back from Leroy. Even though Jamie is...
Oh, Jamie Wright drives into the side of Jess Games, and they got to work it out and try and get on with it. But that was a almost catastrophic error. It certainly spooked Jamie. Ben Harrett gets away with it, goes through the middle of the pair of them. Jess with her tighter line caught Jamie out there. But thankfully, no harm done on this occasion. A little weave to say sorry, maybe thank you. Jess will get the message. Almost. And we were only joking earlier. Oh my God. Thought there was going to be another bit of contact there. We were only joking earlier about, wouldn't it be funny to see Jamie Wright out of this race?
Yeah, it was almost calamitous.
Joking, of course.
There. Almost calamitous there from Jamie. And, well, it's back past his teammate. But the gap it's only grown by a second, but it feels like it's just forever. And looking at this battle on track now, Kieran against Jamie. Kieran got a lovely move on Jamie to get himself up into P6. But Jamie is sticking through. He's sticking with him. He's got the DRS. And this pace advantage is, of course, going to carry all the way through to turn 1. Does have a lift off there. Yeah, he's lifting. He doesn't want to potentially take Kieran out. He takes a wider line. Kieran opting... Well, no. Kieran opting for a wider line. Jamie opting for a tighter line. And it looks like Kieran has actually benefited from that wide line. And Jake has actually taken the fastest lap now, away from Ben.
Away from his teammate who needs the point. So the gap grows to 3 once again between Leroy and Ben. That's not including finishing results yet. Of course, Ben Harrett, 2 positions behind him on track. But Jamie Griffiths and Kieran, good mates off the track. They won't be in the same party together. Obviously, Kieran with his association with speed, and Jamie Griffiths associated with nobody. But they will, or have been, working together quite well over the time we've been looking at them. It has now settled down, I dare say. We are on lap 37. Competition caution, lap 46. Let's see who gets it right, gets it wrong. 14 drivers left in this one, so we're going to have 7 rows of 2 drivers in each row, which I can't wait for. It'd be quite a spectacle. Rico and Jess, are they both just the 1 lap down, or are they 2 laps down? I can't quite work it out. I think it is just the 1 lap, isn't it? There's Jess struggling on, having a moment out of turn 2. I report that Danny Quinn has died, by the way. No communication from the man in Northampton.
I was talking, but I had my mic muted.
Oh, that was silly of you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was just saying that, looking back at Jess, it says that she's 56.9 seconds behind the leader, which
is wrong.
definitely is not right.
Let's go on board. This is her tight line. This is not, I think she's losing so much time doing this line.
Yeah. Need to take a wide entry in so they can carry a bit more speed through. Yeah, I just want to bring our attention to Jordan. 32 laps on the hards. He pitted on what, lap 6? And he's still on those same hards, and it doesn't look like he's struggling on traction at all on them.
Is he on the lead lap? No, I don't think he is if he's 107 behind. I think he must be a lap down.
Have to see where Kyle is.
Well, Kyle is there.
No, well,
Exit turn
I'm
1.
not sure.
I
think he's lapped. Oh no. He hasn't lapped Wasabi again. I think he's just got past Gareth. So yeah, I think he has lapped every. Well, actually, no, he hasn't actually lapped. He's lapped Wasabi again.
I think.
So yeah, those two are 2 laps down. I think those two, Wasabi and Jess, are 2 laps down, I reckon.
Yes, you took the words out. You corrected yourself in the end, so I didn't have to call you an absolute idiot. A village idiot at that as well. Rico and Jess 2 laps down, Jordan just the 1 lap down, being hunted by, I assume that's Gareth and Yori working together. Gareth and Jake, I stand corrected. There's contact there! You were talking about Jordan not having any traction. Well, you've just seen it. Jake driving straight into the side of him. Is there any damage on that car? There doesn't seem to be.
Yeah,
so he's got all that hard work to do once again.
Looking at Jordan as well, it doesn't look like he's got any front wing damage, so that's fortunate for him. But for Jake, it's really not even this incident here, just the bundle of spins and incidents he's had has really put his race all out sorts. But P10 is not a horrific position to be in.
I'm more interested in the battle for P6 at the moment. Yori, Kieran, Jamie Numbers all fighting away. This is brilliant fun. Jake O'Sullivan hits again. I did say in the chat he wouldn't win tonight, despite his domination in the VSL charity races last night. But Yori has the best run of the lot here. What will he do? Will he go left or will he go right? He will stay in the train and form a 3-car tandem draft on the run down to turn 2. Pulls out the draft as Yori then, and will let the other 2 fight into turn 2. Yori now takes the inside line. Here we come. This is now turn 3. I've been saying it wrong all night, by the way. There is 5 turns here. And where'd he go? There he is. Yori on the outside of Kieran. Is that a beautiful move? It sure is. This is turn 5, by the way, what we're coming up to now. And they will both have DRS on Jamie Griffiths. It's lap 41. Remember, lap 46. There's a competition caution. Yori with massive overspeed on the run down to turn 1. He's going to go and move up into P6 here alongside Jamie Griffiths. Brilliant racing from the 3 of them. At least they're not making contact. Jake O'Sullivan. Gareth falling behind here. Fastest man in team speed. Having a bad night, because obviously if he was having a good night, he'd be winning. And Kyle has built his lead back up to over 11 seconds now.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems like Kyle's just in a world of his own at the moment. He's just taking it in his stride.
And that will so badly annoy him as well, knowing that he's been good enough to win this one, but it could all be thrown away at the end, you know, a desperate move from somebody. And we have a spinner. It's Rico that's gone around. But yeah, Kyle on merit deserves the race win. But of course, this is JACKOCAR, and it doesn't work like that. Obviously, sign-ups for Cup and Kia Series have gone live, so if you are one of those drivers who signed up, I see you, Kyle's dad. The league is full of shithousery. nothing will ever go your way, as Danny Quinn will tell you.
Yeah,
It's biased, it's rigged, it's an awful league. But for some reason, these 30 or so drivers keep coming back every season. They love it here. We love it. Lap 43.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm actually just on board with Pete at the moment. He's on the back of, who's this? Ben and Leroy. So it's going to be interesting to see how, well, if he can affect this in any way. And that's Jake with another fastest lap.
Yeah.
106.5, faster than some people's qualifying laps.
Pete has been with these two for quite a while, actually. I think he realised he was a lap down, and the two teammates picked him up, and he's now staying with them. So once we reform the grid, Pete should end up back on the lead lap. Jake, by the way, he's there. Kyle is here. So I'm really not too sure. I don't think he's a lap down, is he? He can't be. He might be, because Pete is. Yeah, he's got to be.
He would. Yeah.
Jake is a lap down. So where's Gareth then? Gareth's there.
Is
that
not
means Kyle is there. So yeah, Gareth is the last car on the lead lap. We have 9 lead lap drivers and 5 that are still in the race, which is what I said you've got to do. Stay in the race, you can win it, even if you're a lap down. So Pete, Jake, Jordan, maybe Rico and Jess will unlap themselves. Pete with damage, by the way.
They've got to unlap themselves twice.
Yes, they do, but of course the lead lap cars will do the full circuit, whilst the guys that are unlapping themselves can cut across everything. So they should just about do it. We'll see how it all unfolds. I'm very excited to see if anyone actually listens to the rules that I create for them and put on a show here on a Thursday night. Whoever Steph is, she says, "Come on, Kyle." I assume some relation to Kyle. We all love Steph. It might be his mistress. We don't even know.
He is paid.
Yes, Pete has paid that. That's interesting. Why would Pete do that then?
No, front wing. It might be front wing.
Yeah, but it was only end plate damage. I don't get why he's done that. Unless the tyres were about to fall off, as we see Leroy and J-Luke is now in the battle for... What's happened to Iceman? Iceman spun!
Ooh. Of course, this doesn't mean anything for Iceman, but... yeah, it doesn't mean anything for Ben, as that's actually Ben Harrod getting past him now, so P5.
Still work to
do. He's still work to do, as Ben is trying to make his way round the outside, Ben Shaw that is, and that's Kyle coming in.
I've just been corrected as well. Steph is Kyle's stepmom, not his mistress. Well,
that is Kyle coming into pit. Yeah, I think everyone's coming into pit for softs now.
Yeah. Hello, Steph. Welcome to the party. So, lap 45. It's lap 46 when the real fun begins, the competition caution. Sorry, I'm receiving messages as we speak. This one's from Casper. Yeah, I'm not reading that on stream. Kyle resumes in the lead of the race. It is now lap 46, so he has listened. And this is exactly what we expected. Everybody in. So the front row will be Kyle and Leroy.
Oh, no, Jamie isn't in.
Jamie? Oh, Jamie Numbers. Jamie Numbers stays out, does he?
Yeah.
I feel that could be an error. Oh my god, did you see that? Now, if that was me, I probably would have gone to the inside of the track, not the outside. But of course, the outside is the inside on the oval, but it's the inside on the normal layout. Yeah. Jesus.
Not too sure about this from Jamie Numbers. That's Leroy getting past Kyle. I don't think supposed to do that, Leroy.
That's all right. No, they're forming up too wide. That's fine. By the way, correction, Kyle's mistress is now in the chat. It is Albanian Edits. Welcome to the party as well. 17 people watching. It's lap 46 here in Paul Ricard. 18 now watching. You join us actually at they've all missed that chicane. You join us at probably the most exciting point of the race, where we regather the pack up and let them all run away once again. Of course, the end of lap 47. They will all get going. At the moment, 6 cars in this train. The odd-numbered drivers will be on the grandstand side. The even ones will be on the pit lane side. And this, hopefully, brings everybody back into play. Of course, there were 9 drivers on the lead lap. And now, if Jess and Rico can get around quick enough, there will be 14. This is a league racing first for the F1 game. You have never seen a 2-wide restart on any F1 game, have you? That's not a question for you, Danny. That's a question for everyone at home. If you have seen it, please do let me know. But I do like to think that JACKOCAR continuously pushes the boundaries, and this is no exception once again. The new restart zone for tonight only is between the 2 Fly Emirates overhead gantries. I believe there's like 4 on the straight, but it's the ones between the timing line and the one before that. Cars are unlapping themselves. Gareth has lined up. Pete will make another pit stop here. In fact, Pete is on the lead lap, so good job for him. Jake O'Sullivan back on the lead lap. Cars continue to unlap themselves. I'll tell you what, I'm very impressed that this is actually working. I didn't think it was. This is brilliant. Fantastic effort from everybody still running in this race. So let's look at the Jess and the Rico situation. Obviously, they are still flying around trying to catch up.
Yeah.
But the restart... Go on.
Yeah, still got to do... Well, Jess... Rico's made his way through. Jess has still got to make her way through as well, I believe.
Yes. At the end of this lap, the restart will commence. So if Jess, Rico and Jordan are not there at the end of it, the pack will just get going. Let's see what Jess does. She's still behind Rico, so I think she's still a whole lap down.
She is, yeah. She is.
Yeah. So she should just absolutely fly past these guys. Yeah, so this one now, this is Jess unlapping herself. Through she goes. And we'll now leave Jess and go back to the leaders to see if they take the chicane this time. Give Jess a few more seconds, because she could need it. Now, they've done this part really well, Danny. Hopefully, the restart isn't messy.
Oh yeah, they're taking it.
Some of them are. Bit of confusion.
Well, I think that was only Ben Harrett. What was it, Ben Harrett, who only didn't take it?
They've all found their position in the end, because Leroy and Kyle are now back. Look at that. Take a picture, everyone. Fantastic. Is that Kieran out of position? Oh, where is Kieran? There he is. No, he's fine. So this is roughly...
Rico going to the back. So just waiting on... Well...
Quick drink.
I don't think Jess will get to the back.
She might. She might, you know. Because Rico is there, as you say, so it's just Jess. Of course, these guys are limited to between 65 and 80 miles an hour, there or thereabouts, for this restart period. And I think Jess is going to make it, because she can still cut these corners. Go on, Jess. Go on, Jess. Give yourself a chance at the Cup Series win. Hopefully she makes it.
Take the wide line. Take the wide line. Don't go tight.
She's gone tight, Danny. It's unbelievable. We're going to have to leave Jess. Hopefully she makes it. Because we are about to see...
No, she's spun.
Never mind. We're about to see a 2-wide restart on the Formula 1 game. These drivers have done an absolutely incredible job. Look at that. JACKOCAR. It's going to be a 6-lap shootout in Paul Ricard, and we're racing once again. Fantastically executed. Who is going to win this race? It's 13 cars. straight to the finish. Kyle continues to lead, and it's Ben Spurs who is ahead of Leroy, but he needs one more position, and Kyle leads into turn 1 now. It's Ben Harrod is changing all the time. Cadgeman back up to third, Iceman now third, and I think we've managed to do that without any crashes. That was fantastic. But it's Kyle who's led this entire race, who leads again, but he will know that Ben Harrod absolutely must finish ahead of Leroy. At the moment he is doing enough, and I wonder if Kyle will just let Ben Harrod go at some point. Fantastic effort from all of these drivers. I think we can implement that into next season. Jake O'Sullivan on the inside. Yeah, they've got to all be careful here as they concertina up into what is turn 4, and they all shoot themselves out towards turn 5. Ben Harrod has lost a position, but Kyle is now chasing Iceman. Iceman, by the way, 9 wins in the Cup Series, looking to go into double figures. He would join the likes of Kyle and Khalifa, Arnold, Jamie Griffiths, Yuri Hazelogger have all done it before him. Into turn 1 they all come then. Ben Harrod, as it stands, is missing out by a single point of winning the Chase Championship. Leroy, ever present. He's had a fantastic postseason campaign, and he is going to be rewarded for that with potentially a trip to Silverstone next week to fight for a title. Ben Harrod needs one more position. Yuri Hazelogger, who needed to win, is all the way down in P12. I think it's going to be Jamie Wright and Kieran Spears who joined Ben Shaw and Jake O'Sullivan in the Championship 5. Into turn 2 comes Yuri, but the action is at front because they're still all bunched together. Leroy makes a move up into P4, crucial. Kyle is indeed fighting for that lead.
Leroy's dropped back, he's behind J-Luke now.
Yeah, he has. That means Ben Harrod is going to the Championship 5, and a fastest lap from Jamie Wright means he steals the point from Jake O'Sullivan. It doesn't really matter though at the moment. Kyle has resumed the lead here in France. Remember the last time we did this, Red Mat won by over 20 seconds, but this is going to be potentially one of the closest finishes we've ever had in JACKOCAR in its Cup Series history. The record is 0.033 earlier this season, and in Monza a few seasons ago. Iceman and Kyle weaving down the back straight. Who wants to this more? Ben Harrod sitting where he needs to, but he's only cleared by 1. It's a 6-car draft as they head into turn 2, 7-car draft even. This is not over, folks. Ben Shaw with a wider line through turn 3. A few of the rears kicking out.
A little bit of a bump and run there for Leroy on J-Luke.
I just don't know what's going to happen. Leroy needs one more position. He is not safe there. Even with the stage 2 win, he is not safe because at the moment it's not even -1. He would lose on countback to Ben Harrod if it stays like this. This is all for a place in the Championship 5. There's been a spinner. Ben Harrod's been turned around, and I think that's his season over. Leroy just has to finish the race now. Ben Harrod's gone. Leroy marches on to a Championship 5 unless there's drama in the next 2.5 laps. Iceman takes the lead over Kyle. These two have been the standout drivers of this race. Yuri drops to 13th. That's his season over. Jess, who never quite made it back to the pack. Great shot of Iceman through there, looking to become only the 2nd driver to win 3 in a row. In the Cup Series, at least. I do have the stats somewhere.
That was actually Jake who spun Ben.
Was it? Oh, yeah. Unbelievable. Gutting. Absolutely gutting then for Ben Harrod. And by the way, I stand corrected. Should Ben Shaw win this one, he would be the 3rd person to win 3 races in a row. The only other 2 to do it, Kyle Smith and Pete Knighton, who is P9 at the moment. So 1 2/3 laps to go. Anyone can still win it really, but it is the front 2 that we are focusing on. Jake will have some explaining to do later on to teammate Ben Harrett. I'm playing golf with those two at the weekend, so I'm sure tensions will be frosty. And Iceman and Kyle bumping each other down the straight, into turn 2 they go. Jamie Wright will be sniffing a 20th Cup Series win. Kyle Smith cuts back, has to think twice about it, but all it does is it brings Jamie Wright into it. And considering the race we've had, look at the top 4. We've got Ben Shaw goes for a spin. Oh no, what's happening now? Jake O'Sullivan has streaked clear. And he's through, and he's going to steal a win. It's 1 lap to go in Paul Ricard. Oh, Jake O'Sullivan looking at a 7th win, a 4th win this season. The Season 5 champion has got a bit of luck, has gone his way. Leroy is P5, he's still doing enough because Ben Harrett's only P11. Into turn 1 they come then. Gareth, again, somehow has made his way up into the top 5. And if it stays like this, he will have more top 5 finishes this season, sorry, more top 10 finishes this season than anybody else. What a driver, massively underrated. Through goes Leroy, who doesn't even need it now. But is there still a fight for the win? Of course there is. It's JACKOCAR, 3 wide into turn 2. Don't mess it up now, boys. It's Jamie Wright, it's Jake O'Sullivan, and it's Jamie Numbers. We've been here before. The 2 Jamies fighting for wins in the past. It's ended in tears, but Jake O'Sullivan almost hits the wall in turn 3. Can he keep it straight enough and get to the line? Run away, Jake. Run away. Go win your 4th race of the season. Jake O'Sullivan, he's going to win in France, and it's done. Jamie Wright is P2, and Jamie Numbers finishes on the podium. What an ending here in France. Kyle Smith thoroughly deserving of the win, but will only come home P7. Iceman P8. And the sad one, the heartbreaking one, Ben Harrett is eliminated from the chase. And it means that Leroy will fight for a championship next week in the Cup Series. The reigning Kia Series champion in his first full season in Cup since leaving the Kia Series will go and try and win back-to-back. What an ending. Danny Quinn.
Yeah, I just let you go into your groove for those final few races, or final few laps, but yeah, absolutely incredible racing. It's just so unfortunate how it unfolded for Ben Harrett, but you have to give props to Leroy because he was with Ben Shaw, Iceman, for pretty much the entirety of that race, and he was there when it mattered, and so unfortunate for the incident between Jake and Ben.
So unfortunate. I think Kyle and Ben as well at their time now. And of course, there's me waiting for the went to Jamie Wright.
I mean, we've seen great.
Smith and Jamie Wright out of 3rd place, which was a gap of 0.277, where 10 finished, by the way. That's 2 weeks in a row. Ben Harrett, Jordan, Jess, Yuri, all the race finishers, and then the ones that got eliminated, Newgarden.